maintain persistence? How do you keep going even when you can't seem to find the energy to keep pushing through? Well, I found in my life, especially the last decade of being an entrepreneur, that there's three really main keys to persistence. Looking back before I became an entrepreneur, I was not persistent at all. I followed through on almost nothing. I was the definition of letting life happen to me. I was a victim. I let my circumstances completely control my life. I had an excuse for everything. It's the economy, it's the environment, basically everyone else's fault but my own. But I want to tell you something today. You're never going to make any meaningful progress, and you're never going to get unstuck if you keep blaming others. That's the first key to persistence. The key to finally following through on what you know is important in life, to take total ownership of your life. There's a really great speaker named Trent Shelton, and he says, look at yourself. If you're the problem and you got yourself into this mess, then you're also the solution and you can get yourself back out. Isn't it time to stop giving away your power and step into the person that you're really meant to be? When you truly take ownership, then you can start to live with intention. You start to build a plan to actually get where you want to be. And that's the second key to persistence. You have to have a compelling future. I talk to so many people and they tell me that they struggle with accomplishing their goals, when in truth, in reality, they just aren't very clear on their goals. I want you to write this one down if you have a piece of paper. Clarity is power. You have to have specific goals to act on. And things like, more closing or more leads or more money, it's not enough. You have to be specific. It has to be something that pulls you forward. That's one of the biggest differences between what I call push power and pull power. Push power is just using sheer willpower to push through to get to the other side. But the problem with that is that willpower, it will run out. There's a limited resource, a limited amount of willpower that you have, but pull power is unlimited. That's where you have a compelling future. You have a true vision of something that pulls you toward that vision, even in the toughest times, even when you don't feel like pushing through, even when you don't have the willpower, you have the pull power to pull you toward that compelling future. I used to do this with my health, where I would be really vague on my goals. I would tell myself that I want to lose some weight. But how do you think that turned out? But when I decided on a specific, compelling future, when I set a very clear goal of playing with my kids without getting worn out, I was in my late 20s, I'm chasing my 2-year-old around the house. I'm getting winded. I can't even keep up with him. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I need to be able to keep up with my 2-year-old. And so I had a very clear goal, and the weight started dropping off. And now I can outrun my 13-year-old, but that's beside the point. You have to have a clear and compelling future. And it doesn't need to be something extravagant or romantic or crazy. It just needs to be something concrete, something specific that you can sink your teeth into. But I also want to say, be kind to yourself and allow yourself to dream and fantasize. That's the third key to persistence. Ditch the negative self-talk or the inner dialogue, whatever you want to call it. We're so hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves up. And the funny and kind of ironic thing is that we can tend to think of this self-abasement as a form of humility, when in reality, it's a defense mechanism. It's all about not wanting to put yourself out there. It's all about not wanting to take the risk, the fear of the unknown. Maybe you're thinking, but I failed in the past. I want you to remember this. Your past does not equal your future. Just because it didn't work in the past doesn't mean it's not going to work this time. The only 100% guarantee of success is persistence. You have to persist until you succeed. It's the only guarantee. But when you tell yourself over and over that it's not going to work, or I tried that before, or I'm not that kind of person who can do that. You create this block in your mind. It's like that old saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Because when you have this negative self-talk, when you have these things that you keep telling yourself, anytime you start to succeed, you're going to sabotage yourself in some way. Think of it like a thermostat, right? So when you set a thermostat at a certain temperature, if it starts to get too hot, the cooler kicks on and everything starts to cool back down. But if it starts to get too cold, everything warms up, comes back there. It's this subconscious sabotage. You have to persist. Those are the 3 keys to persistence. You've got to take ownership of your life. You have to understand that what got you here is you, your decisions, whatever those decisions are. And I don't want you to feel guilty. I want you to feel empowered, because if you got yourself here, you can get yourself out. The second thing is you have to have a compelling future. You have to have something that pulls you toward that goal. And third, be kind to yourself and stop with the negative self-talk. Ditch it. Remember those 3 things and keep going no matter what, and you will succeed. It's like Thomas Edison, right? When everyone was saying that, someone asked him, what is it like to fail 10,000 times? And without missing a beat, Edison says, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways not to build a light bulb. That's what I want you to take away from this. If it doesn't work the first time, try again. If it doesn't work the second time, adjust your approach and your mindset and try again. Now, I know this one sounds cliche, but I want to tell you, because I think that, there's that old saying where most people don't need to learn anything. They just need to be reminded. So I'm going to be your reminder service today. Your breakthrough is coming. It's on the other side of that obstacle. If you keep pushing through, believe me, I've run 3 different businesses. I've had a son that went through cancer. I was incredibly overweight. If you persist, if you keep going, your breakthrough is coming, but you have to get through this obstacle. Maybe you're at a point in your life where you're in a valley. Maybe there's something that you feel like is insurmountable, you can't get over. Maybe you think, maybe you've got ADD or ADHD and you just, I can't do it because I can't focus on anything. Or I focus on one thing for a little bit and then I just switch to something else. I'm going to trigger some people here, but I think ADHD and ADD is a symptom of our society, and with everything competing for our attention. But when you take ownership, that changes. Stop making all of these excuses. And if you have something like ADD or ADHD, start small. Start with focusing on something for 5 minutes, really focusing. Believe me, I know what it's like to not be able to focus. I think we all do. It can be difficult, but you can learn how to focus your attention. The problem is not that you can't focus, though. It's that you're not persisting. You're not pushing through. Whenever you start a new task, it's exciting for everyone when they start a new thing. When you start a new business, or you start a new workout routine, or you start a new diet, or maybe the diet's not exciting, but you start this new thing, and it's exciting in the beginning. That's how it works. But then after a few weeks, you start to get kind of bored, right? That's when the persistence is so much more important. You have to keep pushing through. Otherwise, you're just going to keep bouncing from one thing to the next. If you're in a valley in your life right now, if you're in a situation where you don't know how to get through, you just have to keep going. And what I want to say is, what if the whole point of the obstacle was to make you stronger? What if the purpose of the challenge or this hurdle that you're trying to get over is just to see if you can surmount it, to see if you can get over? What if God gave you this for a reason, because he knows you're so much stronger than you realize. Keep pushing. If it doesn't work the first time, try again. Adjust your approach. Try again. Take ownership of where you are. Use that power to take you to the next level. You have to persist. It is the only way to succeed in anything in life. Don't take that initial sprint and then be done with it. You'll never get anywhere meaningful. The most successful people in life are the ones that have gone through the most. That's a fact. I want you to know that no matter what you're going through, you can persist. You do have another level. But you have to believe that there's another level. You have to believe that you can get there. And that's where your compelling future comes in. You have to have something you believe in that will pull you forward. And if you're on this channel right now and you've waited and you've gone through this entire video, then I know you want more in life. I know that you're sick of settling. But I want to tell you right now, greatness, whatever that looks like for you, it's different for everyone, but greatness, it won't come for you. You have to go to it. You have to go get it. The universe and God and your family and the people that need you, they're waiting for you to show up. But in order to get to where you can serve them, in order to get to the point where you have that breakthrough, you have to push through. And if you're a real estate professional and you're struggling to push through, and you've done all of these things and you can't seem to get it to work, give me a call. Book a discovery session. The link is in my bio. It just says discovery call. And let's figure out a way to find that compelling future. Let's find a way for you to take ownership of your life and move forward instead of being held back. Let's figure out a way to remove the negative self-talk and replace it with a belief and a fire that just keeps you going day after day. I would love to set that up with you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to persist until you succeed.